Joe.
Yes, sir.
This clusterfuck gets more clusterfucky every minute.
Oh shit! I was cracking up last night watching this.
I can't keep up. Like, this just broke.
Which one's going on now?
UST's Do Kwon was behind earlier failed stablecoin, ex-Terra colleagues say. Basis Cash. Not only was he behind it, but it was launched around the same time as Terra and UST.
Huh.
So he's already fucked this up once.
Yeah, probably not as spectacularly the first time.
It never got to peg the other one.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I've just seen a lot of miss moves all around. I think last night was just so interesting watching when they were, basically people were buying UST at 60 cents and then selling it for $1 in Luna and selling the Luna.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just just absurd. I don't know. I saw it bounced off of 1 to like 350 earlier. I don't know where Luna's at now, but
I saw a tweet earlier today of a dude that did that run. He bought UST with USDT. So spent 300,000, bought $1 million something worth of UST, converted it in Anchor to Luna, took the Luna to Binance and cleared $1 million in profit.
Yeah. People are doing that all over the place last night. I mean, it's like
freaking bonkers,
easy
man.
Money.
This guy look, and this is completely a story about arrogance. Like, it is completely about first of all, humans needs to follow someone who's an arrogant idiot. And second of all, someone who's so arrogant that he doesn't listen to the people that warned him. Right. And the craziest thing is we found out how it was done, right? Where is that thread? Here it is.
Link. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk through this, or do you?
No, you talk. You're a little bit deeper on this today than I am.
I'm really not, but essentially, because I'm still fucking digesting it all. But essentially, this looks like from the on-chain data that it was pulled off by one person. And there is a reason to believe, or one organization, and there is a reason to believe that this is true because somebody warned them about it. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So let me make sure I walk through this properly. Anyway, so on March 22nd, LFG, that's the foundation behind Terra, started buying up Bitcoin because there was nothing backing this stablecoin. Right. Yep. And so they started buying it up with the goal of getting to $10 billion worth of Bitcoin, which also probably propped up, a lot of that, what could have been probably a lot more BTC price dump during that
earlier.
Time. Yeah. Because they were buying a lot. Then Frax announces Forpool on April Fools, of course, which is a new pool on Curve to help them own their liquidity and not be tied to DAI and whatever, right? So UST, Frax, USDC, and USDT. So they start that up. It gives them, more liquidity, etc. So this added the second leg, On-Chain Wizard. So at On-Chain Wizard sums up that this was the second leg needed, the BTC buys and then the new pool, right? So we don't know when, but the attacker borrowed 100,000 BTC to start the position. Other than that, it was sold into Kwon's buying. He's still speculating about that. So LFG bought 15,000 BTC between March 27th and April 11th, and average price of 42,000. So you have a $4.2 billion short position. Over the same time, the attacker builds a $1 billion OTC position in UST. So the stage is now set to create a run on the bank and get paid on your BTC short. So this guy buys this up. He has a short 4.2 billion.
Yeah, I love it.
These numbers are fucking insane. I mean, I can't even imagine clicking the fucking mouse on those numbers. Like,
can you imagine, moving that stuff around? I mean, talk about being paranoid as hell about having the right wallet address.
Oh my God. Can you fucking imagine?
yeah.
Oh, anyway. So initially, LFG removes $150 million from the 3 pool liquidity for the launch of the 4 pool. The liquidity was pulled on May 8th, and then the attacker uses 350 million of UST to drain Curve liquidity, and LFG pulls another 100 million of liquidity. But this only begins the depegging. It dropped down to 0.972 on the lows, and then LFG begins selling BTC to defend the peg, causing downward pressure on BTC because they're selling billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, right? While the run on UST was just getting started. With the Curve liquidity drain, the attacker used the remainder of their $1 billion OTC UST position, 650 million or so, to start offloading on Binance. As withdrawals from Ankle turned from concern into panic, this caused a real depeg as people fled for the exits, right? So everybody's like, fuck, this thing's going to depeg. Let's get out. They start dumping and selling everything they can. LFG is selling BTC to try to restore the peg while the attacker is selling UST on Binance. Eventually, the chain gets congested and the centralized exchanges suspend withdrawals of UST, which makes everybody panic even more, right? Now they can't even get to their fucking money. UST depegs to 60 cents at the bottom while BTC bleeds out. So not only is he devastating UST, but he's also devastating Bitcoin at the same time, right? The crypto community panics as they wonder how much BTC will be sold to keep the peg, because now these guys are dumping the BTC and there are liquidations across the board. So now all of the people who were in leverage are getting liquidated across the board because of the massive dump happening across DeFi and across crypto. And Luna pukes because of its redemption mechanism. The attacker very well could have shorted Luna as well, but he doesn't know that. BTC fell 25% from 42,000 to 31,000. So how much did the attacker make? There aren't details on where they covered, obviously, but if they're able to cover or buy back the entire position at 32,000, that means they made $952 million on the short. On the $350 million of UST Curve dumps, I don't think they took much of a loss. Let's assume 3% or just $11 million. Let's assume that all that Binance dumps were done at 80 cents. That's another $125 million cost of doing business for a grand total profit of $815 million.
Yeah, baby.
So you ask yourself, where did this guy get this idea? Like, did this guy just think of it on his own? Did he, just happen to notice the tokenomics of this protocol, UST and Luna, and say, holy shit, I can do this, this, and this, and this? What do you think, Joe?
I mean, I think there's people stalking all of these protocols right now.
I do think there are people still stalking all these protocols, but he may have had a hand. And the hand he may have had is from Freddie Reynolds on Twitter, who actually outlined an entire plan for doing exactly this on November 21st, 2021 to Luna and the protocol. Outlined the whole thing. And what did Do Kwon do? Did Do Kwon say, oh, thank you, we need to really think about this and figure out how we defend against it? No. Do Kwon called it probably the most retarded thread I've read this decade. Silence is perfectly acceptable option if stupid. Billionaires in my following. Go ahead. See what happens.
What was his strategy? Because there wasn't the Curve pool and there wasn't the BTC holdings. So what was he saying?
Let's go take a look at it because I haven't read through the whole thing.
Okay. Because I'm curious. I mean, because this is a blueprint for just about anything. Yeah, I mean, if you can pull together $4.5 billion to do this, then hey, my hats off to you, buddy. But it's not like people aren't going to find out who did it. There's already a lot of, I don't know if it's in the press. But
you want to talk about the speculation that's out there?
I don't know. It's not in the media. There's nobody saying names at all. I mean, the scuttlebutt, I'm hearing specific names, but I don't know if I'm going to betray any confidences here. But
here we go. So his idea was long $100 million of Luna. P&L impact zero, net P&L zero. Purchase $100,000 of Luna and immediately withdraw from exchange and swap to UST using the Terra Seigniorage mechanism. Fee is 0.5%. Repeat 10,000 times. Use a bot so you accumulate 500 million UST for $502.5 million. P&L impact negative 2.5 million. Net P&L negative 2.5 million. Sell your initial 100 million Luna from step one, since there has been 500 million of Luna market bought in step two. Looking at the current order books, PA, I think a reasonable estimate here is plus 30% or 30 million profit. So now P&L 30 million, net P&L 27.5 million. Deposit 200 million worth of BETH on Anchor Protocol and take a loan out for 100 million UST. P&L impact zero, net P&L 27.5 million. Short 100 million of Luna, same P&L. In $100,000 chunks, use Seigniorage again to convert 500 million UST and 100 million UST to Luna. After each conversion, dump the Luna. Conversion fee 0.5%. Net P&L is at 24.5. Close the Luna short from step 5, since there has been 600 million of Luna market sold in step 6. I think a reasonable estimate here is a negative 30% Luna price, or a $30 million profit. So total net P&L 54.5 million. Payback loan from step 4, reclaim your BETH, repeat. So same mechanism, just different tokens.
It's that Seigniorage mechanism that he referenced a few times. I mean, I guess because I know what was going on last night is that, like we said, that you could buy, UST priced at 60 cents and then convert it for $1 worth of Luna and make that, 40-cent pop and dump it. Is that Seigniorage mechanism what was essentially gamed?
Seems like it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's I'm totally with you. When you sit there and you make yourself a target by calling a bunch of people, retarded, they're going to want to stick it to you. And now that the hedge fund guys and the big banks are in this space, I mean, this is what they do for a living. So if you don't know about that, I suggest you go stream Billions on Showtime.
There you go.
Give you a little clue as to what goes on. And they have to play by certain rules with public stocks because of the insider trading rules, but this shit's not securities and it's not public. So, they're working intelligence networks and things to get data and, probably can pay off inside people to get inside knowledge and keys and this and that and know where the break points are. I mean, there's no real rules.
No.
So I would expect more of this, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, and these guys are brutal. They don't give a shit about your stable coin, your project, Bitcoin, DeFi, nothing. They could care less. And as a matter of fact, some of them may be motivated to take the whole thing out, right?
Well, yeah, because their belief is that they're doing you a favor by taking all your money because you're so stupid. It's not that they have any altruistic ambitions or anything. It's all about the money.
Yeah.
And if you can't protect your stack, they're going to take it. So, this is now what we have to deal with in the crypto space. So better protocols, better tradecraft, better messaging, all of these things, or you're going to get gutted like this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Do Kwon. Yeah.
Do Kwon. And, look, I think this all comes down to this. People, for some reason, want to follow assholes. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Arrogance is never, to me, very smart. And the cults always will devastate you. You'll either get shot in Waco or you're gonna get wrecked in DeFi, because they're always gonna fuck you. And by the way, I just read another piece earlier today. Who he consulted on for advice to cash out to make sure he had enough money if this whole thing fell apart last year?
Do Kwon?
Yeah.
Let me guess. Justin Sun.
No.
Oh.
Similar. Well, not
Sifu?
quite as shitty. Not
Sifu?
quite as shitty.
Sifu?
No, closer. Danielle.
Danielle Sesta.
Yeah, Danielle
there you
Sesta.
go. Yeah.
Danielle helped him figure out how to get his cash out. So he's sitting supposedly on a couple of billion. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't have any wallet addresses, whatever. But that was a series of tweets I read earlier today. And look, this is a new space. Everybody wants to get rich. Everybody wants to make money. It's a lot easier if you can, believe in somebody like this guy and just enjoy and thrive on his arrogance and think he's hilarious. And I will tell you, the other thing that people talk about is the fact that all of the people who were calling themselves the lunatics were just as shitty as he was, like ganging up on people, just being total dicks and total assholes. And, there was a time when you could get away with that in this space, but they and him have done more damage to the ecosystem and to DeFi in general and potential future damage from regulators than anyone has done so far. And it's not even like an exploit or a hack or a rug.
It just gamed it.
It's just fucking arrogance and stupidity. And that's the kind of shit that will always get us in trouble. So I don't know. I have so much difficulty understanding it. And look, in TradFi, there's the same kind of personalities. A lot of people like this guy, right? I mean, who's the guy that just got arrested? Him and his CFO, the fund that was manipulating prices.
Zhang or somebody like that?
Yeah, ran up from, I think he had a few $100 million, ran it up to like $10-20 billion, and then crashed it all out because the banks wouldn't keep extending the credit.
Yeah,
I mean the arrogance is everywhere.
Well, it's like they feel like that if you don't believe in yourself and what you can do, that you're weak, and that the moment you doubt yourself or project any doubt or whatever, that everybody's going to come pouncing on you. And and they're sort of right. They have to be the alpha dog and scare people, because if you're not scaring people, people are going to come for your stack. And I don't like it either. I think it's short-sighted. Some of the guys I know that have been in the big money for a long time, these are the guys they would never even open their mouth, let alone do anything flashy, because they know they all have buddies who lost it all.
Yeah.
And the game is, once you have it, it's to settle down and, lay low. And, these guys that have this ego thing, that kind of shocks me. It sort of reminds me of like the Wall Street bets culture, stonks and all that shit. It's like they're not making any good calls. They're gaming the system, and they're throwing a huge herd at it to drive the price up. I mean, hey, it's a good game if you can pull it off, but there's always somebody left holding the bag. And so to me, I think you have to always remember there's somebody on the other side of every single trade. In this situation, I mean, if I was anybody, I'd be pissed at Do Kwon. I wouldn't be pissed at the guys that gamed the system, because
no way. Look,
they pulled together $5 billion in scratch to pull this off.
Look, the GameStop thing was gaming the system, just the reverse side. It was the little guys gaming the system, just like the big guys do. And I guarantee you, this was, some of these more sophisticated folks who can just fuck you. And it's just like, now the interesting thing is, supposedly they had their existing investors jump. I can't remember, June Star something. They had their existing investors lining up to put another $1 to $1.5 billion into this thing. But there hasn't been any more news from it. Yesterday afternoon, it was floated that these guys were going to pony up more money, and then today we haven't heard anything more about it. But Do came out with a plan.
It's funny because there was speculation on that VC group. It's like, oh, now he's going to bring in all the VCs, and like Alameda was talking about coming in, and everybody's like, oh, great, they're the biggest dumpers of coins of all time. If there's anything left, Alameda's going to just pick the meat off the bone.
Yeah, and I loved this. I fucking loved. I think I retweeted this. Yeah. So remember we were talking about Jump?
Yeah.
Steal that old guy's domain. Somebody tweeted, shouldn't fucked with the old dude's domain name, even if he was a dick. Oh man. Funny. So we have a plan.
Oh,
Do has a plan. He's going to save everything. Can you guess how they're going to do it?
It's certainly probably not going to involve his money.
No. How would the Fed do it?
Print more money. So we're gonna turn on the printers.
They're gonna fucking print the fuck out of Luna.
Yeah.
They're gonna print the fuck out of Luna. So this is his like, oh, I'm with you. I know it's been extremely tough. Extremely tough. He like fucked the entire ecosystem along with your cultists. So
dilute the shit out of you on top of everything else.
Exactly. So essentially, you know, he gives a background of the whole thing. He talks about how the price stabilization mechanism works. This is a thread he points to talk about it. But essentially, what he's saying is, first, we endorse the community proposal to increase the base pool from 50 million to 100 million and decrease the pool recovery block from 36 to 18. This will increase minting capacity from 293 million to, and somebody pointed out how he wrote this. He didn't write this 1.2 billion. He wrote it as 1,200 million, right? So they're going to essentially print about another 900 million Luna to try to save the day.
How many Luna's out right now?
I'll
look it up. You keep talking.
I think somebody commented with it in the thread, but I
mean, it sounds like double. It sounds like 50% dilution. So probably, 900 million from what that one thing you said, if I heard that right.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially he's going for, they want to, as we begin to rebuild UST, we'll adjust its mechanism to be collateralized. In other words, they probably think the only way to save this thing is to get to 100% collateralization, right? So I guess there's some logic behind decreasing the value of Luna, but I don't know how it all works.
Well, I'm going to say, I'm just going to jump out on a limb here and say mission accomplished. You've sufficiently decreased the value of Luna.
Yeah, they already did that, dude.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I saw it like 80 cents this morning.
Yeah, and then he says, naturally, this is at a high cost to UST and Luna holders, but we will continue to explore various options to bring in more exogenous capital to the ecosystem and reduce supply overhang on UST. So they don't really have a plan. They have a fucking,
let's pump it up a little bit and get some extra liquidity and move on to the next project.
Let me start another stable coin.
Yeah. Hey, I see circulating supply is about 950 million.
Okay.
Total supply was 1.7-ish, but this is not going to include all the stuff for the last day or so.
Look at this. Look at this. Dr. Crypto, 48.5 thousand followers. It's time for the crypto community for us to help out Stablecoin and Terra Money. I'll be deploying a significant amount of capital into Luna over the next few hours. Who the fuck are these people? Like, I mean,
they're just all fake accounts, probably.
No, this is a verified account.
Oh,
Dr. Crypto.
Prakash Chand, early Bitcoin and crypto adopter. Yeah, Adam's in the shitter too. Did you see that? That was down around $9. It was off 55% last night.
No, Cosmos. I didn't see that.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Shit.
Everything's down, huge. A lot of 50% off stuff going on. But look, this is, again, opportunity. If you were thinking about getting in, still go by my 25% rule. If you're not in now, this is a nice place to pick up some blue chips.
Yeah, totally.
But again, I still think there's more pain coming. Not necessarily from this, but from just whatever else. But this is a good place to kind of stick your toe in with 25% of your, allocation per project. But you look at any of these, I mean, everybody's saying L1s are dead. I'm like, what are people talking about? I don't see that at all.
No, I don't either. Look, I mean, Phantom's dumping, but I'm buying more. I buy more every day, a little bit every day.
Polygon too, I mean, with that huge meta deal.
Yeah.
And, they had a 15% pop. I think, did we talk about that yesterday or the day before?
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday.
And it settled back down. But, those are all plays. You have to, this is the time when you start kind of accumulating for the next cycle. And, if you got in at the top, well, hopefully you did a 25% rule or something. I doubt it, though, to be honest. Usually people that come in at the top tend to drop it all there. But, you've had 6 months or so to accumulate some more fundage. You might want to be thinking about, DCAing at this point with some portion of that.
Yep.
Maybe if you've set aside another equal increment, come in with like half of that as a DCA right now and wait.
Right.
At least you dropped, if you bought, what would a Bitcoin peak at, 60 or something like that? If you bought it at 60, at least you're dropping your cost basis down to 45, something like that. Just get that down. And then it's easier to see the exits then.
Absolutely.
And then when it goes into the 50s, I sell at that point. I know a lot of people don't, but I try to. So, this is not, I know it's totally catastrophic. You just see $7 billion or whatever. No, I'm sorry. That was just in one TVL wallet. Sorry. When you see basically tens of billions of dollars disappear, it's tough. It definitely cramps everybody's style, but also, this is where you kind of, the real winners of the next cycle are making their moves and taking their positions. So look for bargains. They're out there. They're everywhere right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I read tweets like this one. No matter how this develops, Do Kwon has altered my life path for the better and given me purpose, stability, and personal autonomy. And I don't want to make fun of people like this, but I'm just trying to point out, I want people to start thinking about the things they decide they believe in, right? And the things that they put their faith in and pound all of their money into. When, this whole idea that your life was changed by some arrogant dude running a DeFi protocol, to me is just silly.
Bollocks. So, yeah, no, I think humans have a need to, obviously, faith, religion, there's a need to believe in something within us to make sense of the grind that we go through every day called life. But, there's also this thing about false prophets. PROPHETS, not money profits.
Or in this case.
Yeah, I guess that's a no pun intended. But
we should change the name of the show.
False prophets. PROFITS. Yeah, that's a good idea. But look, anytime, it's like the influencers and everybody else. Again, I'm not picking on them all, but when the whole thing is to build a cult of personality, usually there's not a whole bunch of substance under there.
Yeah.
And it's all about kind of like what the Wall Street Bets guys were doing. It's just trying to get a herd going that will, move price, stabilize values, things like that. But, if they don't execute and deliver on the cash flow side of things, the profit side, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm glad that, what's her name? His name? What is it?
William.
I'm glad William found some purpose, stability, and personal autonomy here, but I guarantee you could get the same thing if you just exercise, and do a diversified play of investments. And then you won't be sitting here trying to justify it.
Yeah.
That you're a true believer. I'm not a true believer in anything.
No, beliefs cause suffering, always. Beliefs in your thoughts, beliefs in your emotions, beliefs in other people.
I'm a trust but verify guy.
Beliefs in gods, whatever, always cause suffering. So
faith and thinking, wishing well and doing no harm. All those things are good. You can do those on your own. You don't need a crew to tell you to do it or a group to align with. But again, that's why gangs exist. That's why units exist. It's that camaraderie. People like to be part. It happens all the way down at the bacterial level too. They cluster to each other. Right. So we all want to belong to something or believe in something, but it backfires most of the time. This being one of those cases, William.
It's pretty pitiful. I feel bad for them. I really do. Look, I get it. We're not trained as humans to understand what's happening when someone gets our dopamine flowing and we start making money. And, look, I have plenty of times in my life lost money because I thought something was awesome and great. Eamon says we're all screwed. New Do Kwon stablecoin. Yeah, let's do that. USTD.
There you go.
That is fucking great. Dude, you got to tweet that out so I can retweet it. That's fucking awesome.
USTD. I love it.
That
I didn't pick it up when you said it until I just looked down. I'm like, Oh yeah. Most people know what an STD
Oh
is.
yeah. For those listening on the pod, which are most of our listeners, it's he says, yeah, let's do that. And then he has USTD, the letters, and then writes it as YOUSTD. That's freaking awesome, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, syphilis chain, Joe. He
Oh,
said put it
yeah.
on syphilis chain.
There you go. Sif chain's been holding up a little bit. Erewhon, it's the one that I completely forgot I had, and I'm looking. I see like up 15%. I'm like, holy shit! Well, of course, the last 2 days it's down like 33, so
Of course.
it's not saving it. But yeah, that's a good one. We should put it on syphilis chain.
Yeah.
Maybe you
that'd
should
be
tweet
awesome.
that out to Daquan or Duquan or whatever his name is. Doquan, sorry. You know.
Now, in the
propose it to
meantime,
him.
let's take a look at Frax.
Yeah, that was doing pretty well.
Look at that, just hanging out at $1, right where you would want a pegged stablecoin to be.
Yeah, and but that one's an algorithmic one too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
okay.
A much better one, led by
Yes.
someone with a little bit of humble in
Yeah,
their existence.
not Mr. Hubris.
This to me is an awesome opportunity. This $14.34 FXS price, $13.86. This is I love this project, love this team, love what they're doing. I wonder what FPI is doing right now. That's their inflation pegged stablecoin. By the way, wasn't there a CPI news today?
Down 0.2. It went from 8.5 to 8.3 or 8.4. It was a nothing burger. Didn't go up.
Okay.
Didn't go up, but didn't like drop anything significant. Yeah, I mean, look, FXS is off 26%.
Doesn't have FPI yet.
26.6%. So, that's again total supply of 100 million tokens, roughly. I mean, that is a good time to be entering here.
Yeah. No, I love that project, and I think they're going to have a
Frax price index, right? That's the one you're looking for.
Yeah.
FPI. We're at 99.5393 off 2.6. It's holding.
Okay. That one's interesting because that one's tied via oracles to supposedly the consumer price index, but I got to dive deeper into how it works. I did an interview with him, but we didn't do a lot of granular detail on it.
Well, it went as high as, what is that? This
109.
morning at 9. Yeah, shit. It was up to like 109, 110.
Well, that's probably, I think that has to do with supply being adjusted based on what the CPI is.
That's about the right time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's how it functions, but this is brand new. So I don't know. Anyway, loving Frax, and I think there's just a lot of potential in this project. I was tweeted earlier today. I feel bad for the Beanstalk guys because my first interview with them, they had just had Justin Tron had dumped, I think, 20 million on their protocol. Speaking of dicks, and they lost peg, right? And they were actually fired up about it because they weren't expecting to be able to test the algorithm so quickly. I mean, it was like 2 weeks into their launch, right? And they wanted to test it and make sure it functioned and worked properly and would get back, and it did. And so they were completely fired up. So I can guarantee you that during all of this, while all the attention's on UST and now everybody's looking at the alternative algo stablecoins, that the guys at Beanstalk, Publius, are frustrated as hell that they are out of the game until they finish their barn raise. So anyway.
Wait, what's going on with them? I'm sorry. No, I mean, I didn't know. I don't follow them like you do, but what is going on? They're doing another raise?
Well, yeah, you remember they were exploited.
Right.
And looked pretty doom and gloom. And I interviewed them the day
and took
after
some of their
the
money
weekend.
from them in the poker tournament, if I remember correctly.
I did take some money in the poker tournament. 10,000 still valuable, so that's good because they're restarting the protocol. So what they're doing is, there's a collateralized credit stablecoin, right?
Yep.
And you essentially loan to the protocol what are called pods. Everything has this bean farming model, and you get them at a discount. And then later on, you're in the queue, you get paid back at $1 each because beans are worth $1, right?
Okay.
It's a stable coin. So this model has worked well. So when they first launched, they had a test on them, right? Of their peg, and it worked beautifully. The algorithm worked, everything functioned the way it was supposed to. They were very excited about that. So my point is because after the exploit, they shut the entire thing down, and now they're doing what they're calling a barn raise. And initially the barn raise was going to be public, and everyone could come in and buy sharply discounted via a Dutch auction, sharply discounted pods. And then a third of the newly minted beans would go to the people who came in for the barn raise, and then a third would go back into the regular queue, and then the third would function the way the system normally functions. Well, it turns out there was a ton of institutional money that wanted in on the barn raise. So they have to raise, the goal is to raise $77 million. If they do, it makes everybody whole. Nobody loses anything. They restart the protocol, and there's just more people in the pod line, and those are being divided up in thirds. So they paused the barn raise because these institutional people lined up to want to give them the money, and they're trying to make sure they negotiate the deal and set it up, everything, and then the community votes on it because they're pure decentralized purists at Beanstalk. So
this might be a blessing in disguise for them, to be honest. I mean,
well, my point of view is this. I think they come out of this after the barn raise and they explode because they already had a pretty frenzied fan base for that protocol, and they were smart. They're not having their personalities around the protocol, right? They doxed themselves after the exploit because they wanted people to know it wasn't them, but they haven't built a personality like a doe around it, right? They really have pushed for pure decentralization from the very beginning on this protocol. So when this happened, I can guarantee you that right now, though, they would have wanted Beanstalk to be live with this massive dump that's been happening so they could prove their model even more, that the protocol would maintain its peg, that Bean would stay at $1, right? So I know they're frustrated. I know that right now they wish that they were in the game. And you're right. But it may be better that they're not for now, but I know knowing these guys and having interviewed them now multiple times, I know that they're frustrated for not being out there proving what they have.
Yeah, they're just chomping at the bit. But I'm telling you, they have an opportunity now to relaunch and come out stronger, capitalized up with better products, and didn't quit on it.
Exactly.
When they got hacked. So that's where I would be going with it. And
that's where they are going. But I think what I mean is that they wish the barn raise had happened sooner, so that they could have been live again while this was going on, while this dump was going on.
Yeah.
To prove what they have.
Or not. Or not. One or the other. So
well, look, coming out of this, they'll be in a good position. There's only going to be a couple of algos left, right, that anybody has any faith in. So you got DAI, which most people say DAI is basically USDC at this point because there's so much in there. You got Frax, you got MIM, but I'll never touch MIM again.
Yeah.
You've got Beanstalk, and there's others. Don't get me wrong, there are others. And there's the collateralized USDT, USDC, PAX, the other ones, but I think Frax is going to be in a golden position. Yeah. And I think Beanstalk's going to be in a golden position. So,
yeah, I definitely think, I think Frax comes out of this in a really good shape if they can just, hold their stuff together. And then the other ones are what the other ones are. DAI was making the moves a few months ago about putting a bunch of collateral in there, but it was going to be like public stock and real estate and hard assets. And they weren't talking so much about crypto as backing it,
right?
Which I'm wondering, when I think back about UST, it's almost like it's a shorter's dream if the underlying asset is tradable.
Yeah.
If the collateral, because all you got to do is take it down, and then boom, they got to start liquidating. So, and then they sell it off themselves and price it down. I think DAI might be in better shape because of that. But USTD says USDT says, yeah. Now I'm stuck on Eamon's meme there.
We have to launch the meme coin. Let's launch a meme stable coin.
USTD,
and it's
baby.
pegged to the price of UST or Luna.
Yeah. It reminds me of this joke. I'm not intending to piss off anybody, but we always talked about having like some kind of a crab shack at the beach when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
And the joke was it's going to be all you can eat, but you just got to eat a lot of them. If you can connect our previous conversation together, you might get it. All right.
That's funny as shit. That's funny as shit.
Yeah, no, look, I'm psyched for Beans to come back out, with their new and improved stuff. I mean, I like those guys too. Yeah, this was the Coinbase one, another, kind of shit show in play right now, which
your money is not your money.
Yeah.
Like, and essentially it's fractionalized. They're fractionalizing Bitcoin. They're fractionalizing everything in their exchanges, right? They are printing Bitcoin. And if everybody came at them at once for their Bitcoin or their Ethereum or whatever, they don't have it.
Yeah. And look at this, so if you have staked 1,000 Bitcoin at Coinbase and then they go under, you're not at the top of the food chain there.
Hell no.
At that point, you're way down. You're below the common stockholders, basically. You're not in the debt chute. You're nowhere.
No.
So, think about that, everyone.
Yeah. So everybody knows what we're talking about. Coinbase, in their most recent filings, said basically added to their filing that basically if they go bankrupt, if they go bankrupt, you get in line as a creditor to get your tokens out.
Yeah, all the assets they're holding in custody on behalf of the clients are gone at that point. Yeah. And you get your money back once they take care of, the chain above, which is generally debt comes first. So any, short, long-term liabilities, anything characterized as debt is first. Even above that is like vendor relationships, who they owe money to vendors. And then they'll usually go to the preferred stockholders or bondholders, preferred stock, all of those guys, and then common stockholders, which is, pretty much most of the people that are holding Coinbase right now.
Right.
And then below that, they're going to take care of the people that went ahead and gave them all the money, parked and staked their 100 BTC there to go eke out 1.2% interest or something like that. So you might want to rethink that.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, it's the old adage, not your keys, not your coins. Right. And the chains, I mean, the centralized exchanges are playing games with the trading. You're just a database. Your tokens are a database entry. They don't exist until you take them out. Right. So get them into, a wallet and store them there, or hardware wallet, or get them out and use them in DeFi. But, you cannot trust. Now, look, they are insured for theft or exploits or hacks. So it's a safer place to be if that's your biggest worry. And this isn't financial advice, but just understand that if Coinbase goes under, it's going to be a long time till you see your money.
Yeah. So look, the opposite is if you think about you put your money in a bank, if you're looking for that safety, well, that's insured up to some amount, but they've always paid in excess of that amount if you held more. Nobody's ever been stiffed on, say, a bank deposit. Well, that's the way these deposits should be at Coinbase. It should be nobody gets stiffed, but instead, that'd be like your bank going under and then saying, oh, yeah, everybody who put money with us, you're at the bottom of the food chain.
Yeah, exactly.
You get your money last, whatever's left, you're 4 cents on a dollar. So that to me is, I think that should be somehow with Coinbase, those assets should be sort of firewalled off from the rest of the operation so that stuff is, sacrosanct, that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And in fact, even it might be the first things paid out, to depositors. But, it's still a way to go in that space. It's in the US, it's publicly listed. There's plenty of avenues to litigate and get your money back other ways. But still,
but if you need it anytime soon,
today,
no, you're looking at years.
It's not the right message.
Look at fucking Mt. Gox. Now that's in Japan, but we're talking how many years now? People still don't have their money?
It's like 10?
Yeah.
When was that? Like 2012 or something?
I don't remember, but so just know.
And that wasn't even a big public company either.
Yeah. Look, I say at the end of the day, all Coinbase is an on-ramp. I said that when they went public. They're an on-ramp and an off-ramp. Nobody of any you don't trade on Coinbase because the fees are stupid. It's like friggin' Western Union. And so it's an on-ramp and an off-ramp. It's a connection to your bank account. And that's no longer going to be novel. Eventually, there will be banks that let you buy crypto, or there will be easier ways to buy it at better rates with lesser fees because people will see an opportunity. Like that's a big ass business. So what are you laughing about?
Niblet's latest one.
Yeah, I've got it on screen.
I that's what I'm looking at it on the screen. Yeah.
Chuck said USTD pegged to the price of penicillin.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should launch something, dude. This would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, we could put up we'll get another guy whose name's DOEKWONE, the one.
Brought to you by Do
Kwon. And this is the new peg, and we want all the UST money to come over here, and we'll pay a 50% premium on all of it.
Exactly.
It's only worth 20 cents now. So we'll get it for 40, then we'll turn around and sell it back into Luna and pocket 60% or 60 cents.
We could just peg it to the value of Doe's wallet. Like there'll be one USTD and it's worth $2 billion.
Yeah. We're going to be auctioning it off later. No, we're going to go stake it at Aave.
Hey, listen, all of you that joined us late, please know that this will be available on YouTube to watch in its entirety, all the hilarity. And also we have a podcast feed that it goes on. So search for Mission DeFi or DeFi Lunch on your favorite podcast app, and you'll never miss an episode unless I forget to post it.
Yeah, with your Potzheimer's problem.
What did Nick Vandervink? Maybe Doe will revive basis. Yeah, it's astounding, dude, that was at the same time. It's just frigging. People are amazing, which makes it look shiftier and shiftier. It really does. It's just ridiculous. Eamon says we all gonna make it here. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you just got to hang in.
Yeah.
Some lessons I learned after the 2017-18 stuff. I still remember sitting around. I think I was watching that slow bleed the summer of 18, and
the summer of 18. And then, of course, were the days.
Yeah, and then don't forget, like I think it was right around U.S. Thanksgiving Day that then it just went in half, like 7-3 Bitcoin or something like that, And I was like, what the? And then when I was like, oh shit, I'm screwed, because I had a lot of people paying me, numbers of Bitcoin per month, not like dollar value.
Right.
So all of a sudden, all my retainers just collapsed, and then I managed to survive through the next couple of months, and then Cryptopia got hacked.
Oh yeah.
And tons of stuff was gone on that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And then I remember I was sitting on bags of shit that I ended up having to sell for, to cover some other expenses. And then I watched all those come back like 10x in this last run.
Yep.
So, it's just a matter of staying alive and, trying to pick some decent values. But even like one of my buddies has been saying for 5 months, don't buy any alts unless they're 99% off the all-time high. So, which of course I said to him, well, if it's already off 99%, that doesn't mean it can't go off another 99%.
Yeah, I'm not going with that one. I'm not going with
that. But look at the charts now. Almost everything is 90% plus off the all-time.
I'm investing in fundamentals. I'm investing in projects with strong leadership, with a decentralized focus, infrastructure plays, chain plays. And
learned your lesson?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr.
Well,
Snowdog.
look, I had fun. I made some money on those rebase tokens.
Snowdog?
Those were fun. Those,
yeah.
Hey, bite me. What the fuck? My mouse, my trackpad just wasn't working.
Klima kicked my ass.
Dude, I can't believe I didn't click on that 43,000. What was it? 34,000 was what I had.
You would have probably gotten hit with like 3,000 in gas fees, and it wouldn't have filled, or something.
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you making me feel better. Thank you so much.
Yeah, look, everybody knows I sold out of a lot of this stuff in November timeframe, just because I wasn't going to get caught on the downside. I didn't think it was going to be like this, and I thought it was going to be an opportunity to get back in sooner. But, it's again, you got to sell some on the way up and take your money off the table. So you're not reeling. And I know a lot of people are new. and they haven't run through a few of these cycles. But, look, it's here to stay. Crypto's here to stay. You just got to pick the good ones and, don't chase the stuff. I mean, we just saw one today that somebody shared and about, what was that gold one or something like that? It was total hustler language at the front end. It's the next BTC, they got 21 million in coins but of course it's centralized and it's on Cardano. Right. And you're and people buy that, eat that shit up. And I'm like, you can't invest in that crap because most of it's not going to go anywhere. Yep. And if it does, you need to get out early.
Yep.
Because then you successfully front ran the Ponzi scheme.
So Nick asks, sorry if I missed this from earlier, but how do you think Luna will impact other algo stable projects? Hard to see many projects gain short-term traction after this collapse. Look, I think that a significant portion of the DeFi population will be skeptical about algo stablecoins, but there are significant differences in the models that make some stronger and some weaker. So from my perspective, from a perspective of what's best for the ecosystem, we better not give up on algo stables because it is the only thing that keeps us from having a backdoor into shutting it down. And I'm not necessarily believing that everything will get shut down by regulators, but I do think that the threat of shutdown will be used to force compliance in other ways. And so we need to all do the research, do the work, read the analyses of people smarter than me that understand kind of the intricacies of these algorithms and make them work. So short term, do I think there'll be some fallout? Yeah. I mean, look, Frax is down to 13 today. FXS is down to 13.86 today. To me, that's an opportunity because I think projects like Frax and Bean and others who have strong leadership, strong teams, and strong models actually can lead the way. And I think there's going to be a lot of money to be made on some of these protocols in the short term on the PEG tokens. So, yep, I definitely think there will be a negative short-term impact, but I think long-term it's going to be a boost. Now, the one project that I don't know where they are right now, but Maker, because everybody said screw this after all this mess, had a nice run yesterday. I don't know where it is today. Yeah, it gave back, but it's still up 14.20 and going into this morning. Oh, it had a nice run today too, up to 18.39. So it gave back a lot, people dumping on it, but overall it's at a higher price point. Oh, that's all today. There we go. Yeah, that looks nice. So Maker's a beneficiary, DAI's a beneficiary of this clusterfuck. When Doe said, by my hands, DAI will die. It's like, we commented on that.
Twist up another one, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So, Nick said there's definitely a need for capital efficiency, decentralization in stables. Absolutely. And we'll get it right. Look, we are going to have more failures. This shit is going to keep breaking. We are in an research, experimentation, and evolutionary process. And if you can't stomach that, you shouldn't be playing this game because all of these protocols, DAOs, algorithmic stablecoins, DEXs, how they function, options, synthetics, all of it is 3 days old compared to traditional finance. We are at the very beginnings of this, and there will be more failures, more exploits, more hacks, more problems, more failures. And it's up to us to decide whether we want to take the risk, make sure we, do what Joe says and get out while we have profits on board, but be willing to take the risk because we can make money, but also be willing to take the risk because it's good for finance. It's good for DeFi. It's good for the world to have DeFi thrive. So to me, every failure is an opportunity for better the next time.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's the more points you have out there, the more diversification you have in your portfolio.
Yep.
So across asset classes, and also with these plays, we're talking about capital velocity. We talked a little bit about, I think it was last week when the Treasury guy was on, And, we talked about what happens when the Fed takes the stuff off the balance sheet, it comes out of the banks. So it gives them less money to lend. So if you know how banks make money off of lending to, qualified, hopefully projects, then that money's held in deposits and it's relent out again. And again, there's that multiplier spin up. DeFi can play a big role in that type of acceleration, making it faster and faster and faster. And that makes capital more efficient. And that's what any free market economist, business person, whatever wants to have happen. So DeFi is here to stay.
Yep.
What it looks like in a year or two, I think is going to be very, very surprising. And I think a lot of the tech is going to be absorbed up by financial institutions to generate more profit margin for them. How that affects the consumer at that point from those mainstream institutions, I don't know, but there'll be more stuff coming. So, they only sort of absorb the risk. I don't want to say risk free, but let's say the least riskiest elements and then manage to fuck it up all on their own at that point. But the point is, if you can tolerate risk, get on the edge. If you can't, if you're playing with college money, rent money, whatever, then, be more careful.
Yep.
And don't go into these things where this type of shit can happen.
So the rumors are flying. Citadel is trending on Twitter right now.
Yeah, no, that's the one I heard today too.
Citadel and now one about BlackRock teaming up. And of course, the conspiracy is now that, TradFi, Janet Yellen, basically said, go boys, go get them, since she was talking about UST yesterday. I think that's
a stretch.
Silly. They just went in.
Shit.
They just went in to clear, $800 million in a day and, make their investors happy. So
look, if it didn't work out, they would have lost $5 billion.
Yeah. But we don't have any proof that they did it, but I'm assuming that'll have to come out in their reporting, right?
I think they're a hedge fund, aren't they?
Oh yeah, you're right. Never mind.
So, they could pretty much disclose what they want. And they're clear of any SEC exposure because this is an SEC, it's not a public company. But I was just going to go that, but I remember having a lot of discussions about stable coins with people around those groups. And they might consider that something different, might be more FinCEN like, but they ain't going to go after a U.S. hedge fund on that. No. Who's now going to pay $400 million in taxes. It's like, they're going to be like, yeah, have at it, boys. But yeah, that was the rumors I heard this morning too, those same names. I didn't hear BlackRock though.
Yeah, there's a snippet of a conversation going around showing Citadel and BlackRock teaming up on it. Anyway, we'll see. That's all I got, Joe. This is insanity.
This means that other ones, look, just to close on that means the ones that normally compete with Citadel and normally compete with BlackRock, they're going to be getting into the game too.
Yep.
So when you see something like that, then you're going to start seeing someone as, like the future Do Kwon plays of the world. You're going to see another one of these banking groups in there already to run defense of that type of stuff. Maybe BlackRock was involved because they're pretty much USDC at this point. So
yeah, exactly. They have a massive investment there, so it makes sense to make 800 million and destroy a competitor.
Yeah. So the trick is stay out of the gun sights of these guys that have unlimited leverage, basically, to take you out, and keep executing and keep your friggin' mouth shut. Don't be like egging people on. That is the thing in this space. Now the big boys are here. So they have no problem cutting your throat and taking your money.
They don't even, they do not
give a shit at all.
They don't care about the mission. They don't give a shit about anything. So
they care about their shareholders.
Exactly.
And their investors, and that's it. So I guarantee there's high five. If it was those guys, there's whomever it was, there's a lot of high fives going on around a conference table somewhere.
Oh, definitely.
And the $70,000 bottles of wine are flying, and in come the strippers and the sushi. So on that note,
hey, everybody, thanks for listening and watching. If you're joining us for the first time, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube. Click the little bell so you get alerted when we have new episodes out. We would really appreciate a review on Apple Podcasts, or leave us a comment on the YouTube channel for this episode. All of our episodes end up on our podcast feed and on YouTube. We also live stream them on LinkedIn and Twitch. So wherever you prefer to get your fill of DeFi Lunch, we've got you covered. So thank you for listening. We love you. We appreciate you. Chuck, Niblitz, Nick, Eamon, all of you guys who have contributed to the conversation today, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here and participating, and love the engagement and all the smart thinking. Joe, have a great afternoon.
Have a good day, buddy.
Yeah, you
Talk
too.